Hello YouTubers, welcome to your aviation channel, the Flying Notes Center. Our topic is going to be about special visual flying rules, commonly known as a special Vfr. And before we continue, we must ask ourselves this question of what is special Vfr and when do we use it? And when are pilots supposed to fly under these rules? And at the end of this video, we'll be able to vividly answer this question and be able to define special VFR, know all the regulations that are pertained to it, and also be able to know the exceptions when the pilot can fly special VFR. And as a way of introduction, I want us to imagine this scenario where a pilot is flying in a cloud which is below minimas in certain areas, and the pilot is in that area for only a short period of time, and therefore you need to transit within that area. And what do you think the clearance of the air traffic controller going to be? Will he allow the pilot to continue the flight or not? And as you continue thinking about this, let me answer this question. And because of we're talking about special VFR, the pilot is going to be allowed only if he meets certain criteria which pertains to special VFR, and therefore the pilot will be allowed to continue with the flight into these weather conditions which must meet a certain criteria pertaining to the regulations of special VFR. And the question of what is special VFR, we can define special VFR as a visual flying rule flight where the pilot flies visually and the weather conditions are below the visual flying rules minimas, and also this can also happen at night. And the answer is that simple. The definition, after defining the definition of special VFR, now we can go into look at the criteria, special VFR criteria that must as requirements that have to be met for us to continue with a special VFR. So on to the special VFR criteria. Number one is that special VFR may only be issued by approach inside a control zone and not inside aerodrome traffic areas and aerodrome traffic zones. However, we must acknowledge that aerodrome traffic areas and aerodrome traffic zones do allow exceptions to the VFR minimas. And these minimas within an air traffic within an aerodrome traffic zone, which does form part of a control zone or an ATA, day or night. Therefore, no aircraft shall take off from, land at, approach to land at, or even operate in an aerodrome traffic zone or aerodrome traffic area if the ground visibility is less than 5 kilometers and the cloud ceiling is less than 1,500 feet. But we have an exception where when the pilot of an aircraft is engaged in a cross-country flight, that aircraft may leave or enter an aerodrome traffic area or aerodrome traffic zone if the ground visibility is 5 kilometers and the ceiling is 500 feet. This may only occur if the pilot maintains two-way radio communication with the aerodrome controller in case of an aerodrome traffic zone or the aerodrome flight information service unit in the case of an aerodrome traffic area. So another exception is for the choppers. The rule says that no air helicopter shall take off from, land at, or approach to land at an aerodrome or fly within the control zone when the ground visibility is less than 2.5 kilometers and the cloud ceiling is less than 600 feet. So in this case also we have an exception where except when an helicopter is conducting hover in ground effect or hover in taxi operations in conditions worse than those above, provided that the visibility is not less than 100 meters. So those are the special Vfr criteria that we have for both fixed wing and the helicopter. And so we go to number 2 rule that says special Vfr may only be used by day in instrument meteorological conditions. These are basically below the Vfr Minimas, and visual flying can be so reduced. Okay, and the number 3 is that special VFR does not relieve the pilot of the responsibility of maintaining a minimum safe altitude. So now we go onto the special Vfr Minimas. And onto the special Vfr Minimas, we have ground visibility has to be at least 1,500 meters. And for helicopters, it has to be 500 meters. Okay, and we have to be clear of clouds so that we should be having contact with the ground and be able to see, and also to increase the visibility of the pilot. And number 3, ground has to be in sight all the time when doing special VFR.